Pretty colors.
Hey, we're waiting for Jessica. January. Right.
One who's Greg's.
Mrs. Roby,
Not bad at all. Put the heat on.
I don't think
Where do I park?
Mrs. Roby.
Did you want one?
Yeah, I knew it's.
Can I have one? I have one. I brought one down.
Roll call for the City Council meeting of Wednesday, November 19th at 7:30 p.m. Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Haran-Kunso, Mr. Jones is absent, Mr. Kwiatkowski, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski. All please rise for a moment of silent meditation and pledge of allegiance.
We have a moment's silence, please. Thank you. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes for the meeting of Wednesday, November 5th, 2014, and bills for payment on November 21st and 28th. Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Haran-Kunso, Mr. Kwiatkowski, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for your presence. And we'll turn it over to you at this point for the proposed budget for 2015.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, Madam Controller. Today I present the proposed 2015 budget for the City of Erie. As in prior budgets, it is balanced and reflects the true costs of providing safety and services to our citizens, as well as accurate revenue projections necessary for providing these services. It reflects an efficient operation that is able to effectively provide essential safety and services to our citizens at the best possible cost. Over the past 9 years, we have focused on our core competencies, changed our way of doing business, and reduced our workforce by nearly 25%. It is a credit to our department heads, bureau chiefs, supervisors, and staff who have all worked very hard over these years to find new ways to conduct operations so as to save money for our taxpayers while continually refining our methods so that services would not be compromised. The model we have created has become an example for communities across the Commonwealth of how to fashion an efficient and effective government to avoid economic insolvency. We do, however, continue to face the challenges of meeting the ever-increasing costs of maintaining our operation. Although we have effectively managed the costs that we can control, there are a host of expenses that are outside the control of the administration and council and determined by the governor and legislators in Harrisburg. These include the skyrocketing pension costs, Act 111 uniform service contract cost, and post-employment benefits. For example, in 2015, our budgeted pension contribution, which is mandated by state law, will be approximately $11.8 million. This is up from $3.65 million in 2006, a nearly 300% increase since we took office. This will continue to climb each and every year until there is a meaningful pension reform in Harrisburg that includes municipal pensions. Our employee costs in our police and fire departments have gone from $25.5 million in 2006 to $41.6 million in 2015, a 63% increase. These are not discretionary costs, but are the direct results of mandatory arbitration awards. This too will continue until there are meaningful changes to state statutes governing collective bargaining. Our post-employment benefits, which were cited as a weakness by Standard & Poor's in our most recent bond upgrade, are currently $1.6 million per year. These costs include the health benefits for retired uniformed services members and are the direct result of mandatory Act 111 arbitration awards. These costs will also continue to climb until the laws have been changed in Harrisburg. Our entire general fund budget has increased from $55.5 million in 2006 to $72.7 million in 2015. This is only 31% over the course of the same 9 years. This shows that effective stewardship of the operation has led to our ability to counteract some of the effects of these much larger increases in the non-discretionary items associated with uniform services, but they continue to grow at a very disproportionate rate. Myself and mayors across the Commonwealth continue to work in Harrisburg to get the changes necessary to relieve these burdens on our communities, but to date, we have not garnered enough support among the state legislators to make meaningful changes. Until we do, the burden continues to fall on municipal taxpayers across the state. In Erie, we have cut our operation to the bare bones in both public safety and service areas. We cannot meet these increased costs in this budget through additional operational cuts. As such, this budget includes a tax increase of 0.8 mils. Obviously, a tax increase is something that no one in the administration or council would prefer to do. However, our options are limited. We have been working to find ways to limit the impact of ever-increasing costs throughout the course of this administration and for future administrations. We worked vigorously over the past 9 years to refine our operation to maximize our efficiency and do much more with less. We have also worked to control other cost centers by effectively managing our risk to realize substantial savings in our insurance cost and by managing our debt. We have paid down our aggregate debt by $42 million and upgraded our bond rating 4 times so that the remaining debt could be refinanced at the lowest possible interest rates, keeping the annual payments as low as possible to minimize the impact on our annual budgets. With our newest rating upgrade, we are now in the A stable range. This will afford us the opportunity to refinance this spring to reduce our annual debt payments so that our revenues can be directed more towards the escalating non-discretionary costs so as to minimize the impact on the taxpayers each year. We are also looking at the possibility of funding a long-term paving plan through the refinancing so that we can do large-scale road repairs over a 5-year period without tax increases to cover these costs. These are the type of plans we are currently formulating to ensure a stable financial future for this community for years to come. The budget I present today reflects true revenue projections as well as real cost estimates. It honestly contemplates the future and our need to provide for the ever-increasing cost of maintaining adequate safety and services for our community. As I promised with each of the previous budgets, our goal is to accurately determine the cost of administering an effective and progressive operation, not only for this administration, but for years to come, requesting only those revenues necessary to achieve that end. We have shown in each of the previous budgets that we have done just that. We have been accurate in our projections, contemplating the realistic increases in our cost of doing business and our ability to keep pace with these costs in the years to come, considering realistic revenue sources and trends. It does not include any new personnel or programs. It simply supports the current services and capital needs in these areas. All of the departments have been directed to do everything they can to make city operations affordable to our taxpayers, and they continue to pursue our mission to do more with less. We continue to face the ongoing challenges that I have laid out here today, which continue to increase our costs each year. Our ability to contain non-discretionary costs is limited statutorily and will require action in the state capitol before meaningful relief for municipalities can be realized for the long term. We must be realistic as we continue to look at our revenues and expenses and how we will continue to fund our operation in the face of difficult economic times. In a time where cities across Pennsylvania are continuing to battle insolvency and municipal bankruptcy, Erie is recognized as unique because we as a government made the many hard decisions through the past 9 years to reinvent ourselves and to keep our city solvent. Because of our success, we have avoided the negative consequences that these other cities are now suffering. We must continue to deal with the realities regardless of political popularity. We will continue to work in a positive and proactive manner with you, our City Council. We have all been a part of the solutions that we have realized, and I would like to commend you for your work in making the hard decisions which have led us to our success and also becoming more aware of the operation of the city and the financial consequences of the decisions made within this chamber. I would also like to thank the City Controller and the City Treasurer for continuing to work with us to help easily implement the changes necessary to achieve our stability. Together, we have created an economically stable city government. We continue to work together to show our community that we are a government that truly operates with their best interests as a priority. The decisions and determinations on the final budget are yours. as are the responsibilities of its consequences. We ask that you provide us with a budget that will serve this community's needs and will be able to be administered in an efficient and effective manner as we have in previous years. My staff will be available to help you understand the information in the budget and the thought process that went into each of the decisions comprising the individual budget recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions for the mayor? Any questions at this time? Jim?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mayor, thank you for presenting the budget tonight to us, or the preliminary budget, but 0.8 mils increase, what's that mean to the average taxpayer or the average homeowner?
It would be $40 per 50,000 value of the home. So a $75,000 home would be $60, and
Okay.
100 would be 80.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for presenting this budget today. Just a couple questions. Going on what Councilman Winarski was saying, do you know what the 0.8 mils generates to the budget?
That will
Revenue-wise?
generate $2.1 million.
And what does that put the total millage at for city? 12 point?
11.65.
11.65. With the increase, with the 0.8, that's what it'll be at?
Correct.
Okay. And are there any proposed rate increases in anything else, like you did mention garbage or sewer or any of the ancillary services like zoning, building permits, stuff like that?
No.
No changes in any of those? Or parking, nothing, no
No.
changes? Do you know approximately what that percent increase is for somebody? So this would be an increase of,
It would be 7.1.
It's 2.4 compounded annually since the last increase.
2.4 compounded annually since the last increase,
and when was the last property tax increase?
2012.
12? Thank you. We'll look forward to going through this, obviously, as you know, with your department heads and getting more questions answered. So thank you for these.
Sure.
Anyone else? Okay. What we will do from this point, I will ask each liaison to each department to meet with the department heads individually. And once we review the proposed budget, if you have a question on a department that you're not directly affiliated with, then work through your liaisons. Each liaison should let everyone know when you're going to meet, so he or she can sit in on that meeting. That would cut a lot of other meetings out that we have to go through. We will establish, if not tonight, next week, the earliest dates that we will meet here, review the budgets per bureau, per department, and we'll finalize this in a timely manner. Any questions? Hearing none. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Can council get a copy of it?
Yes.
Post on SharePoint?
Or we'll just send it.
Thank you. They're going to send it down the road so we can, he threw a lot of numbers out.
Thank you, Rose. Aren't you nice? Oh, you didn't have to put the number on. Oh, my.
Oh, wait till you see inside.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You're ready to go.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, Rose, you ready?
Request for repository.
Okay. Right now, we'll have requests for repository sales. Please step to the mic, give us your name and address, and tell us about the property you want.
Okay. My name is Danny Nicholson. My address is 2059 Glendale Avenue. And I was trying to purchase two properties through the repertory sales at 419 Wilson Street and 319 Wilson Street. You sent me a letter asking me to come and talk to you about this so that I could kind of let you know exactly what will be done with the property. So I don't know exactly what you want to know about it. I plan on building a church there and making a parking lot there. So I have all responsibilities as far as the keep up of it. I have all the responsibilities as far as trying to get the building built. So I have the people, I have the resources to get everything done. So.
Any questions from council?
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
The two properties, are they adjacent to each other, or?
One is like in an L position. One is sitting right here, and the other one has come down about 2 doors down.
Okay. And you would be building on, which one of those would you be building your church?
The 319 is where I'll build the church on, and the 419 is where I'll put the parking lot.
Okay. Is there anything on those parcels right now, or are they vacant parcels?
They're vacant.
Vacant. No old buildings, no structure?
No, nothing at all.
Okay, that's good. And you said you already have folks to help you to do the building and things like that? You have some tradespeople that you're familiar with or whatnot, or construction folks that are going to help you?
Yes.
And what will your church be called? So we'll know.
New Age Ministries. We're affiliated with Church of God in Christ.
What kind of time frame are you hoping to have that built?
I was looking to get it done within maybe a 3-year time period.
Okay, good. Very good. Appreciate your investment in the city and making those properties better for our community. We appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. We'll try our best to do what we can to try to help the city to grow.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. We will not vote on that tonight. We'll vote on it at our next meeting, and you're welcome to attend. You don't have to. You will be contacted on our decision.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Darnell Ramsey. I'm also trying to, I placed a bid for some property at 731
Okay,
East
your
12th.
name and address?
My name is Darnell Ramsey, and my address is 737 East 12th Street.
And the property you're interested in?
It's vacant right now. It's next to where I'm living at. It's 731 East 12th Street.
Now, is that a vacant lot, or
Yes,
is that built there?
It is a vacant lot.
Okay, and you plan to do what there?
I want to put a fence up around there. It seems to be an escape route for criminals. My car has been vandalized twice on 12th Street. It's not too far from that TJ's bar. I'd like to secure my vehicle. I'd like to put some concrete down for my son, like he can practice, do his hockey practice, and he'd be secure as well. I've been living there about 6 years now, and I've been cutting the grass and taking care of this property, as well as, plowing. My main reason is to stop the traffic that's going on there. It's a real escape route. You're on 12th Street, if they're cutting through there, and they're ended up on 15th Street with no problem. I'm finding people having sex in their vehicle right there because it's like a driveway right there, and doing all sorts of things. And, I tell them, this is my property, you have to move. But it seems to not stop. So I know if I was to purchase this piece of land, I could stop that.
Okay, very good. Any other questions?
Mr. Ramsey, we appreciate your willingness to do that, to try to help to improve the neighborhood and stop, like you said, an escape route for crime. So whatever you can do to secure that property would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, we will not vote on this tonight, but we'll vote on it at our next meeting, and you will be contacted on our decision. And I think you're doing the right thing there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, citizens to be heard. Mr. Randy Barnes.
My name is Randy Barnes, 109 Walton Point, Erie, Pennsylvania. My topic tonight is what is $81,732. This is important. I want to say greetings to the council president, council, administration, people watching at home, guests. I think this is an important subject to talk about because it helps us educate the public on how our government works. And we're talking about as one council person, it's a luxury, not a necessity, and that's the office of city archivist. One council person, again, repeat that, it's a luxury, not a necessity. And I don't know listen to the mayor's budget, it doesn't sound like we have a lot of room for luxuries. But maybe we do. Maybe we do. But back on March 7th of 2014, there was a memorandum to Mayor Joseph Sennett, City Solicitor Greg Carley, from Mel Witherspoon, City Council President, regarding city clerk. And I'm not going to read this, it's 3 paragraphs. But it talks about wanting to research the legality of City Council retaining Mr. Clem as a contract employee after his retirement. It says in there, we will then be able to avail ourselves of his institutional knowledge and training of the current and future employees of the City Clerk's office for a period of 2 years. Last paragraph says, I would like to discuss this matter further with you at your convenience so that an appropriate contract can be presented to all parties concerned. An appropriate contract. That was March 7th, memorandum to Mayor Joseph Sennett, City Solicitor Carley. If we fast forward to July 16th, and this was in council chambers by Mr. Winarski, seconded by Mr. Witherspoon, resolved the City Council, City of Erie, goes on to talk about Mr. Clem is going to be retained as an archivist. And it said contract to be effective from August 1st, 2014 for 2 years. The contract's effective August 1st. That was in July. So if we go on to September 30th of this year, the controller sends a letter to Mel Witherspoon saying, basically, where's the contract? Where's the contract? We aren't going to pay anything more until we have a contract. Quote, as a result of not having a signed contract with the city, the controller's office is notifying you we are unable to authorize any future payments until this matter has been rectified. And the reason we talk about this is, again, I think public should understand how their government works. And more than likely, we're going to be paying more next year for our government to work. And again, we have these things that one council person describes as luxuries, not necessities. Now, how many luxuries do we have? Do we have more, just this one, or do we have a lot of other luxuries that the taxpayers are paying for? But I thought what was interesting is, back in the memorandum in March, nowhere in that memorandum from the council president to the mayor or Solicitor Carley did it the words archive, archivist, document, or record appear. All it talked about was training the people that have been in the office. So sometime between March and July, someone said, well, have we ever had an archivist? How would we know? The records are such a mess, we don't know what we've had. We have to sort these records out. So let's hire an archivist. But what I wonder is why, if we talk about a contract in March, and we talk about a contract in July, and we talk about a contract in September, how is the city running? Are we having people work for us all the time without contracts? Does this happen all the time? Is this a once in a lifetime thing, or is this everyday procedure? We go ahead and vote on something, start spending money, and if someone asks for the contract, well, we'll come up with one. Maybe that's a cost savings. Forget those contracts, because they take time. And we really don't need contracts. But according to the controller, on September 30th, there are supposed to be contracts. Again, this is your government at work. This is the government that we're going to be paying more for next year. This is your government at work.
That's the bell.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's a new one. I'm thinking, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. No, I had to cut it off.
Richard Wagner, 4228 State Street, Erie. You know, that's a shame about the pension system, and I know that it's a problem. And I think even it's more severe with the school district. And as a tax-paying citizen, you know, I have to be prepared for, in my case, it's going to be a $200 a year increase in my taxes for the city. And I don't know what's in store for me with the school district, but the pension's got to be fixed, and you can't fix it. You need the state to fix it. Why I'm here. Why does the state seem to have partnered with the authorities in our city and ignored the problems concerning our community? Authorities are supposed to act as an autonomous organization, self-contained, independent, without outside control. They are all cornerstones of authorities. But the state, in its wisdom, has unloaded truckloads of state tax dollars to Erie events. $25 million towards the new hotel, $7 million to cap the GAF property, $3 million to purchase the GAF property, and $45 million to remodel the Erie Insurance Arena in just the last few years. Add to that the $35 million for the EMTA project, and you can hardly say that the money from Harrisburg isn't flowing to this area. It's just misdirected. But there are many problems facing this city. The core issues holding us back, like poverty, blight, crime, violence, and the lack of family-sustaining jobs, seem to be ignored. Let the independent nature of the authorities prosper using their own resources, and ask the state to pay attention to the needs of the city. The $115 million spent on hotels and bus garages could have done a lot of good for the entire community. Staying with Erie events, I hope everyone has noticed that they are going to refinance their bonded debt. With current interest rates at all-time lows, Erie events can save $500,000 a year simply by refinancing. What jumped out at me was that for $100 million, they have or will soon have 400 rooms on the bay. That comes out to a cool $250,000 per unit. Has anyone ever heard of economy of scale? The more of anything you make brings the price down due to sheer volume. A similar project, smaller in nature, is being privately done. A 50-unit, $5 million hotel at a cost of $100,000 per unit. That is the Kennedy Hotel. The Erie Events as a group has enjoyed a tax-free existence on the bay. I estimate that between the three structures, the citizens of Erie lose at least $5 million in tax revenue every year. Not to mention they are benefactors of a hotel-motel tax that goes directly to them. Coupled with a unique financial relationship where the bonded debt of this group is backed by governmental bodies they reside in. Hardly autonomous to me. In 2006, I believe you lent Erie Events $3 million. That should have never been done. The city has never been in a position to lend anyone that kind of money. That money came from a protected water reserve account to be used for capital improvements. Since I mentioned earlier, maybe you should call for the note to be repaid using the unique financial times we are in and add $6 million to the $100 million refinancing proposed by Erie Events. $3 million for the city to go back into the water reserve account, and $3 million to pay the Port Authority for the Sassafras Street Pier, which I think has a similar repayment plan as the city. Just think if that $3 million had been in the water reserve account. I looked at the closing quote on, I think, February of 2006. Wall Street was closed about 7,000, I think, and now it's 17,000. So if that money had sat there, it would have more than doubled. There'd be $6 million. And whoever's getting the control of that money be much happier. You have the 2015 budget from the mayor. Call for a waiving of the rules and approve it tonight. The review of the budget is no more than a dog and pony show. It might make you feel good, but is a waste of time for all of you that are involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I have a few issues. Of course, you know when I come up here, I got a few. I can't understand. I want you to...
I know your name, Mr. McDonald, but for the records.
Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, sir.
Property 19th and Reed.
Yes, sir.
Here we got that convention center down there. We got that big old hotel. They're tax-free. Here you're going to build another hotel tax-free. They don't have to pay no taxes. I don't understand y'all. Here's Scott Enterprise. They want to build a hotel and they want to pay taxes. Here you want to go up on property taxes now. Could y'all tell me what's going on? Because this picture looked mighty blurry to me. I don't understand. Of course, y'all know everything. But I don't understand. You're supposed to explain it to us. You're spending our money. Y'all don't tell us nothing. Oh, we're going to raise this, we're going to raise that. We don't see the mayor until he come down here to spend some money or raise taxes. When Tulio was in, we could go see him. He'd sit up there and we could ask him questions. I don't know. It won't be no more Tulios. Wouldn't be a bad thing if it was, but it's not. I would like for you all, somebody up there, I want to know how much money has been spent on that bridge out there, looking at that bridge. Looking at it ain't doing nothing to it. I want to know how much money you're going to spend to get it tore down. That's not a good idea. Those people down on the Lower East Side need that bridge. But y'all know more about their business than they do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just slow to catch on. But I ain't but so slow. I'm thinking all the time. I pray for y'all. Because one of these days, you're going to face that man up there. You're going to bust hell wide open. You're going to talk about, why me? Why not you? You took that oath, and you're not living up to it. You're not living up to it. I want you to think about that. You're going to answer one day. You're going to answer. People are dying every day, and your day is coming. I asked y'all about those cameras on those police cars. I ain't heard nothing else about it. You don't think it's a good idea? One of these days you're going to see. Other cities have them on their cars. You all are spending our money. Why not put them on the cars? The police mouth is not a prayer book. You put those cameras on, you'll see what's what. You'll see who's lying and who's telling the truth. If I was y'all, I'd think about that. And there's this other thing I'm a little perturbed over. All summer, I've been looking at this here new garage you're putting across there, which I don't know what you're putting it across there for. You're spending a lot of money. And I don't see no coffee-colored faces on that job. That job, is this just a white man's thing? Y'all don't think them dark skins out there need no money? You're wrong. You should make sure that they put your so-called minorities out there to work too. I don't know where y'all coming from. What do you use for thinking with? You want to be the fathers and the mothers up there. You want to lead the city. You want to be leaders. If you're going to lead, why don't you lead right? You know right from wrong. Every one of you up there know right from wrong. And you know you're not doing right. When you sign that contract with those contractors, you should insist that they have minorities too. Those young folks can't go out there and take no job. It's up to y'all. Y'all got a job. Take care of your families. All of those boys out there are not worthless. They got families they want to take care of. Can you understand that? You should consider that. You know what? You think I'm up here blowing hot air, but one of these days you're going to wish you had to listen to me. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Are there any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, Mrs. Roby.
Okay, ordinances for final passage. Closing and vacating, or council file number 15,900, and official file ordinance 36/2014, an ordinance closing and vacating a portion of a public alleyway from East 24th Street between French and Holland Streets with reservation of existing utility rights-of-way. Sponsored by Mr. Brennan and second by Mr. Murski, the council file ordinance bill number 15,900, and now known as official file ordinance number 36/2014, be finally passed by the city council. Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Haran-Kunso, Mr. Kotowski, Mr. Murski, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon. City Council passed official file ordinance number 36/2014, finally by yeas 6, nays 0. That takes us to new business.
I'd like to make a motion to move the balance of the agenda.
It's been moved
Second.
and second.
Any separations?
Yes, number 8, new business.
Number 8, any other separations?
Mr. President, I just separate, I have resolutions regarding the water reserve under 2, 3, 4, and 5, but I can just separate one of those and explain the process.
Okay, which
and then
one you
after-
want?
We'll just separate number 2, then I can inform the council, and if there's any questions on the rest.
Okay, any other separations? Mrs. Roby.
Okay, moving the balance of the agenda. Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Haran-Kunso, Mr. Kotowski, Mr. Murski, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon. Resolution number 2, sponsored by Mrs. Haran-Kunso, seconded by Mr. Winarski, resolved by the Council of the City of Erie that upon recommendation of the City of Erie Aggregate Pension Fund and the City of Erie Water Reserve Investment Committee, the City Council hires Rice Hall James as Cap Growth Equity Manager for the City of Erie Water Reserve Fund, effective January 1st, 2015, for a 3-year period expiring December 31st, 2017. Discussion?
Thank you, Ms. Roby. Ms. Roby gave me a very nice birthday card. This is just my birthday. That's why I have so many things on the agenda, because it's my birthday. I usually don't have anything to say at council, right, Mr. Witherspoon?
Usually done a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, I just wanted to kind of inform you on items 2, 3, 4, and 5. They all pertain to the City of Erie Water Reserve account. This is the monies that have been put aside to use for capital investment needs of the city. These funds are invested with a variety of different managers and different asset class in order to have a return on investment that will bring in funds for the city to use for those capital needs. Each year we take 4% of that fund and we put it into the budget for the city to use, if we need to buy a police car or some other variety of capital needs can be taken care of. This year we'll bring $400,000 in from that fund, and as long as the fund continues to grow, we can continue to grow that number. The fund is under active management, and we work with our City of Erie pension fund to get a good economy of scale, which is what one of our speakers talked about today. We are able to piggyback on the managers that they have for pension funds of the city, which are much larger than this investment, so that we have good managers managing our monies and good returns and meeting or exceeding the benchmarks. So these 3 items are two of the asset classes, the small cap growth and mid cap, were put out for manager search. We do have an investment independent advisor for our funds, and RFP was done to get a lot of folks to respond and offer their services for either small cap management or mid cap. There was 50 different companies that applied for the opportunity to be the small cap manager and 30 that did for the mid cap manager. The Aggregate Pension Board and their investment committee was able to narrow down that search and interview the top 3 candidates. These 2 items, 2 and 3, are the results of the thorough review and the opportunity that I had to watch the videotapes of the interviews, and I wasn't able to attend, but able to watch what was said and all the conversations to get the best deal for the both Water Reserve account and the pension fund. So we have the Water Reserve Investment Committee, which is made up of 2 members of council, the city controller, the city finance department, and Jim Clem serves as a representative at large. And that group voted unanimously to hire the same managers that were selected through the search. So 2 and 3 are small cap managers. Those funds will be moved and invested with them. And the third item is a custodian search. Custodian being that sort of like the bank that holds the money before you invest it with your managers. And that is also being awarded today. Putting out for competitive proposal gave us an opportunity to find the best deal, and so I think that's what we're going with today. And I appreciate the work of the Aggregate Pension Board and the Water Reserve Investment Committee in making these selections. Anybody have any questions on these selections today? I do have the proposals and the analysis if anyone needs to take a look at those. Thank you, Mr. Witherspoon.
Thank you very much. I need to add that I sit on the Water Reserve Board along with Councilwoman, and she does an excellent and outstanding job in what she do. She understands the terminology. She's been doing this for a while, and I couldn't have a better person sitting in that position. And I want to thank you personally for that.
Thank you, and I appreciate your service to the Water Reserve Investment Committee as well.
Okay. Rose?
Okay, voting on resolution number 2. Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Rankunso, Mr. Kwiatkowski, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon. Resolution number 8, sponsored by Mr. Witherspoon, seconded by Mr. Kwiatkowski. Resolved by the Council of the City of Erie that the Enterprise Zone Loan Review Committee approval of the following loan be formally ratified. Performance Casting, Inc., real estate, $250,000 for a term of 15 years with a fee of $1,250. Performance Castings, Inc., equipment, $250,000 with a 7-year term and a fee of $1,250. These funds have been made available through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Enterprise Zone Program and the Erie Enterprise Zone Revolving Loan Fund and loan repayments. The loan will be charged against account number 310-0000-0000-1007. The interest rate is fixed at 4% per annum, a one-time loan processing fee based on 0.5% of the amount financed will be assessed to the client. The city solicitor's office will assist with the preparation of the loan documents for this transaction. City Council further directs that the proper city officials are authorized to sign the necessary documents and agreements effectuating same. Discussion?
Mr. President, I need to abstain from voting in this resolution to appear any conflict of interest, because since I'm an employee of Develop Erie, and we're involved in the financing of this project also, we're assisting in some of the loans, so I'll abstain on this vote.
Mrs. Ruffey.
Okay, voting on resolution number 8, Mr. Brennan abstains, Mrs. Haroun-Kunso, Mr. Kwiatkowski, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Witherspoon. This resolution is adopted by yeas 5, nays 0. That takes us to committee reports, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Could I make a quick point, Mr. President? We have lost most of our audience, but we have some diehards out there. We have a member of the St. Luke's track team in the audience. Charlie's here, and his dad. And look they have staying power. They have stayed this whole council meeting, so we appreciate you coming. And if you have something that you're here for particular and you need to talk to us, or you want to come up here on the microphone and tell us what you're doing here, you're just here for fun, Charlie. Boy Scouts? Okay, if you're working on a badge and you want to talk with us afterwards, we can help you answer any questions and get you all set for your badge, okay? Thank you for
Charlie
coming.
would love to come up.
Do you want to come up to the mic and talk to us?
Yeah, he would love to come up.
You don't want to?
Please come up to the mic.
He wants to be on camera.
He's on the St. Luke chat. Come on, you got to come up and you just got to tell us what badge you're working on and how we can help you here today, and maybe what you're learning about from coming to our meeting. Tell them your name because you're going to be on TV.
I'm Charles McNamara. I'm working on my communications merit badge, and my goal is to make an objective report.
Oh, very good. Great. Well, have you learned anything about city government, how it works at a council meeting today?
Pretty much.
A little bit. So we have this agenda, I think your dad showed you, and besides listening to the citizens, what we have to do is listen to the citizens, hear what they have to say, and try to improve what we do to make our citizens happy and be heard in our city. But then we have to vote on all these items, and when we don't vote, we don't say anything, that means we're voting yes. So when we're quiet, that means yes. And when Ms. Roby, who's our clerk, tells us she's passing the balance, that means everything on here got voted yes to. We also have a board up there where we can vote. We can vote pushing buttons. We can vote yes or no that, but we didn't do that tonight. Sometimes when we have something we really, have something controversial to talk about, we might vote that way. But thank you for coming to our meeting, and if there's anything we can do to help you, stick around afterwards, okay? All right, Charlie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I digress.
Well, that's okay. We're going to allow you to continue to digress. Your committee report, please.
I'll be quicker on my committee report. I just wanted to point out one thing that we were talking about with our citizens to be heard. Convention Center Authority does owe the Water Reserve money for a loan we gave them when they were building the first hotel and convention center. That loan was for $2.5 million from our Water Reserve investment account. That was as a result of a need they had in their financing to make the project go forward. And they have been paying us back a little bit at a time. So I just wanted to make sure that folks knew that they have repaid approximately $250,000 of that loan, and we continue to hope they'll address that and eventually pay that off. But it is a loan, and we do receive some periodic payments on that loan. So just wanted to clarify that. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Councilman Kotowski.
Yes, it was my extreme pleasure to march in the Veterans Day Parade along with three of my colleagues, Councilman Mursky, Brennan, and Winarski, and marched with a few of my veteran friends. And it was a great day. The mayor was there later on. Got to see a few of my friends up on the fourth floor of the hospital. And I want to thank everybody that showed the veteran community some support this year. And thank everybody, and thank you, gentlemen, for walking with us. Hope we get all of us there next year. Met with the Aggregate Board recently, and as Councilwoman Kunso said, we picked 2 new money managers and a new custodial bank. None of these decisions are done on a hasty basis, and as the mayor is talking about the challenges of our pension plan, I'd like to say that in a time frame that Council has actively taken over the Water Reserve, and the time that the Aggregate Board has been formed many years ago, there's been a lot of progress made on both those fronts. Our pension plan, when compared to the rest of the state, is in the upper 70-some% of funded status. Now, is that perfect? No. It's a challenge to the city to come up with the MMO that's needed to carry it through. Thanks to the hard work of the board, that number is kept as low as we can. It's fair to say that many, many years ago, the same diligence was not given to the MMO that it is today, and that's why the pension funds are in trouble. If you like to see them, I mean, the controller can show you the numbers from 30 years ago in the books and show the progress that the hard work of the Aggregate Board, the hard work of the Water Reserve Board is trying to accomplish. It's a challenge, but it's one that I think you'll be proud that they're carrying on very well. And with that, I just wanted to assure the public that even though it is a challenge, we're working hard to keep it in the best shape that we can. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Winarski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening once again, everyone. Just to follow up with Kaz, I know the mayor went through some numbers pretty quick in his presentation this evening, but a few things did stand out. I don't know if everybody realized that our bond rating being A stable is advantageous for us as a city as in moving forward in any refinancing. When you get a bond rating, and I'm no bond expert by any means, but when you're in the A rating, it does help, and it hopefully helps with these MMOs and our deals with these pensions that hopefully with any of our bonds we have and any refinancing comes along, it may help us in the future. There isn't a doubt that it should help us in the future. The mayor also mentioned about a long-term paving program that they're working on to present to us as council in the springtime. Naturally, the bond monies we had in the bond we took out 3 years ago, those monies have expired, or if not, there are very few dollars left that due to weather may not have been used up this year, but that's something that sounds interesting and definitely needs to be done, because we are going to need some type of plan, because every year, and you see it out there today, there's plenty of salt on those roads, and that is not the best thing for it, as well as the freezing and the thawing. But we look forward to the task of going through this budget with our fellow council people and seeing what kind of resolution we can come up with to that is in the best best decision for the city of Erie. On a lighter note, I'd like to thank Dave Mulvihill from Public Works. I had 2 streetlight locations that were given to me, and he got them handled through Penelec naturally. There is a number that I did not have at the time. I know it's been published before, but 870-1326, Leanne, and they get a hold of Penelec and they get these telephone pole lights or these street lights handled where they get turned on. Naturally, it's dark early and it doesn't get light too early, so street lights are more inevitable now that we need them on, one being 28th and East Avenue by Holy Rosary, and I mentioned something in the morning, and believe it or not, on my way home that afternoon, they were actually putting a new light up there, so I appreciate that effort. I had the honor with Kaz and Bob and Dave to participate in the Veterans Parade. I want to thank all our vets as well as the citizens who showed up and supported this great event. It was a little chilly, but nothing compared to what our vets sacrificed for us for our freedom. Thanks to all our brave men and women. And I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. We do have a lot to be thankful for. On a little lighter note, Tuesday, that stiff wind that was almost giving everybody frostbite, if it wasn't for that stiff wind taking that snow to Buffalo, it would have been dumped on us, and our weathermen would have been right also. So they're not always bad guys when they predict something and it doesn't come to fruition. But other than that, good night and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilman Brennan?
Thank you, Mr. President. No report on my committees, but I do want to announce that Council's having a study session to review the rental inspection program on December 4th at 5:30, Council Chambers. I also want to note a couple other items here. We had held the facade improvement program, or workshop, on November 13th, last Thursday. It was very well attended. About 50 people showed up, even with the first snowstorm of the year here. Several follow-up meetings are scheduled with some of the attendees and with some of the presenters that were there. But there's a lot of good information given out, and hopefully something good will come from that. A residential building improvement workshop is now being studied for the spring, so we're looking into that also. As several council members already mentioned, we were at the Veterans Day Parade. It was definitely an honor again to participate, and thank you to all our veterans and our active military for your service to our country. For a couple of future items that are coming up here, the Destination Erie, there's several community presentations this week. Some have already taken place. Tonight's actually going on in Fairview. Tomorrow there's 2 sessions of the City of Erie. It's at the Gannon Waldron Campus Center at 124 West 7th Street in the Yale Ballroom. There's a session from 10 to 12 in the morning, and then also another one in the evening from 6 to 8. But there's key recommendations that are being presented, and they want to get the public to review these and get their opinion on them. And just in closing, again, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody will be able to be with their families and their loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman Mursky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few things. No committee reports today, but I wanted to thank the voters for coming out and voting on Election Day. Our government only works if people come out and actually vote, and it was a beautiful day, so it helped a little bit with the voting percentages. Also, just to touch briefly on the convention center, I think some people get confused about who backed what and who's guaranteeing what. Most of those bonds that are being backed are the county government, not city government, and so while we certainly will listen, to the citizens to be heard, I just want them to understand that all those bonds that have the County Convention Center Authority is a county authority and a state authority, and because Erie's the host municipality, the mayor gets an appointment to that board. And one of the things that was brought up, they had a groundbreaking after our last meeting, earlier in the week, or earlier in the month rather, and from the press release, 178 construction jobs will be employed on that construction project, and that they have a project labor agreement, which means that prevailing wage will be paid. Those are family-sustaining jobs, and also that minorities must be a percentage of the workforce on that construction development. I will get those final numbers for you at a future meeting as the project progresses. The hotel itself will employ 41 full-time people, 14 part-time people, and create 44 spin-off jobs. That's from the press release from the Convention Center Authority. So it's about jobs, and those are family-sustaining jobs, especially those construction jobs. So I just wanted to get that information out there. I know with all the other news that gets thrown around, especially around election time, that got buried a little bit, but I wanted to get that out there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. First and foremost on my report would be happy birthday to Councilwoman. I was going to have a rap group sing to her, but maybe I'll have it done next time. I'll get the kids from JFK. We'll hook you up.
We can't hold off. You just go ahead.
No. I might get a record contract and I have to leave here, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Not here. But happy birthday.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Mary Bueller and her organization, Erie Together, on Tuesday. They had about 500 folks from Erie City and Erie County going over their plans for the future for the city of Erie and county, basically about networking and getting adults in programs, volunteering, working with kids. It was an outstanding morning, and I've never seen a lady keep things on a time schedule and have as many speakers as she had. And she held me to 5 minutes, so I know how our speakers do sometimes, but she did an outstanding job, and congratulations to her. Controller?
I'll be brief. Thank you. Councilman Kwiatkowski and Councilwoman Kunso already addressed the issue of the decisions made by the Aggregate Board and the Water Reserve, but if anybody wants any additional information, I have all that available in my office, which is accessible to any of you. If you have any questions, you can just reach me in my office, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Administration?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be brief as always. I would like to follow up on the Erie Together Community Forum that was held yesterday at the Convention Center. It was a great program with panel discussions from engaged community leaders. Mary Bueller did a fantastic job keeping everybody on track and held it together even with a keynote speaker who was unable to arrive to the area. He spoke to us via Skype, which was the best Skype presentation I've ever been able to experience. Steve Pemberton is an author. He's an executive with the Walgreens Corporation in Chicago, has overcome adversity in every chapter of his life. He was very engaging. It was wonderful to hear his story. He stressed the importance of not only being a role model, but actually being the change that we all want to see, actually being there for the kids and giving them a voice and sticking up for them. So I commend Mary and the Erie Together organization for everything that they did for the Erie community yesterday, and look forward to picking up Mr. Pemberton's book and looking forward to a movie that apparently is coming out in the coming years. But that's all. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. City Clerk report.
No report tonight, Mr. President.
All right. Meeting's adjourned.
Good answer. Council adjourns at 8:34. Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Rancoon-So, Mr. Kwiatkowski, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Winarski, Mr. Withers.